Well, good evening everyone and welcome to the TFR eSports round number 4 of season 24. You join us here in a very wet Miami for qualifying here. I'm joined this evening by Hyper and
Good evening.
we are currently, like I say, in qualifying, a very wet qualifying here in Miami, just off the back of the F2 race that's just taken place, which was a bit of a mess. Let's hope that F1 is a little bit more tied together, a bit more sensible and a bit cleaner. Let's just hop on board with somebody here. Just get some telemetry up. Lap data, that's the one. Right, so we want gap to leader. Right, so we're on board currently with Minkesh. No one's actually on a fly yet. There's loads of people. There's a few people on an out lap. Imad, the championship leader, one of them. Detective Midge as well. Who's closest to starting a lap? Looks like it. No, Detective Midge. Can we go? No.
I think it's going to be quite an interesting one here because in the F2 race, obviously, during the start of the race, it was quite clean cut and it was sort of very sort of precise. Whereas coming towards the end of the race, I think I got hit by some of the hardest in the race. Apart from obviously, unfortunately, for my teammate who had a little bit of an incident causing a red flag. But I don't know. I feel like this race could be very interesting between D because he's quite close to the championship leader, so it could be quite interesting.
Yeah, I mean it's been quite close throughout F1 so far this season. I mean there's been a few close calls. I mean Australia, there was not much to call between the first the 4 places really, and that was due to some wet weather coming into play towards the end, if I remember correctly. Bahrain was a nice easy win for Imad, who got the strategy correct, and China proved to be very interesting as well. So we're on board with Imad here, who's on his first flying lap of the session. Like I say, I believe he is the championship leader at the moment. I'll just pull up my standings in front of me just to double check. All part and parcel of being an amateur commentator, I suppose. Yeah, Imad, your championship leader, closely followed by Bora Alkan, who's still currently in the box so far in this session. Imad is going to set the pace though and give everyone a lap to beat in this session.
It is going to be a little bit different this week, of course, obviously, because we do have B29 isn't present here with us today. We've got Hariberman instead, who's been as a reserve driver for him from F2, who's currently leading the championship, I believe, who's reserving for him this week.
Yeah, so that'll be interesting to see how he fares in F1. He's usually one of the quicker ones in the F2 division. A little bit slower in the wet usually, but nonetheless, still a very quick driver overall. So Imad goes 5/10 off the fastest, which was actually Minkesh on a 1:42.3 as the opening lap. Hyper, when it's wet weather, what do you prefer? Do you do one lap at a time, or do you fuel the car up for, say, sort of 5 laps and go lap after lap after lap and see if you can gain your pace? What's your usual strategy?
Well, I mean, this season so far, it's been quite difficult to judge, obviously, with the changing conditions. And obviously, during qualifying, it's usually my preference to come out at the start and get quite a fast lap in the dry. But in the wet, I'd say, for me personally, I like to just get like one and done. Like, get the car nice and light, get all the fuel to a minimum, and then hopefully set the pace.
Sure, yeah. I mean, my sort of strategy usually is to fuel the car for sort of 5 or 6 laps, go out, and as the fuel load decreases, you get more used to the track and usually set quicker laps. I mean, I did that in Australia, worked out pretty well for me. Unfortunately, the start didn't go too great in Australia, but there's obviously several different strategies you can take in the wet, and I think we're seeing Imad here potentially following suit in that. I don't know whether, we can't see his fuel load obviously, but he could potentially go out for a second run on the same set of tyres here if he's got enough fuel in the car. Let's just hop on board with another driver that is on a lap at the moment, which we may not have because I think they're all Karem. Yeah, Karem out on a lap at the moment. Says a 36.9 in the first sector.
I think it would be wise. Oh,
go on.
I think it would be wise for D to stay out for another lap, as we've just seen him come past the pits now, and sets a pole lap as I say that. I was about to say that it would be wise for him to stay out and
Yeah,
So
I mean, to be honest with you, in the wet conditions, it's a lot easier to save battery. There's no DRS to split you, so I mean, all you've got to worry, you know, if you've got the pace in the wet, you can set lap after lap after lap. There's no real need for a cool down lap, like we've just seen from Imadi there. If you're quite conservative on the battery and you're quick for the corners, you know, the world's oyster really is. Karem Kalabasi, who is one of the top drivers in the championship, I believe. Yeah, 7th in the championship he sits, but he's finished quite close to the top. He sets at 142.5, which is still 1.1 seconds off the leader, so such a large gap between Imadi and the rest of the field. Imadi so far having a fantastic season. We've been pretty much unbeatable. He has been beaten in a couple of races, but overall he's just been such a clean, such a composed driver, and has got the points for it. Currently sitting on 82 championship points, which is a whole 14 points clear of second place in the F1 championship.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm excited to see how Haribo fares between the some of the very pacey drivers in F1. Of course, in F2, him and I have come into each other a few times during the race. Not so much this season, but last season, as we were teammates in our debut season in this league, it did get quite interesting. Fortunately for me, not so much for him. I got the sort of better end of it, and I, if you like, I think CJ said last season something along the lines of I took the glory and he took what's left. But this season in F2 he's been doing very well. I'm excited to see how he fares with the F1 grid.
Yeah, I mean, like I say, we mentioned earlier, one of the quickest drivers on the F2 grid, if not the quickest. It's yet to be seen this season, really. It's still early days that, you know, race by race the F2 championship changes. So it'll be interesting to see. You know, you think back to Bahrain, he was so dominant in Bahrain. You know, beat second place by a large margin in the end, and probably would have been even larger had there not been a red flag towards the end of the race. So definitely in the dry, one of the quickest in the F2 championship, and we'll see how he fares here today. So who are we going to hop on board with here? I see Kizzy's already retired from the session. I'm not sure what that is to do with. He may have had a qualifying penalty. He's not allowed to qualify for this race. I'm not entirely sure.
Quite possibly.
We're going to hop on board with Kevin Cal here, former TFR eSports championship winner. He's on his out lap at the moment, and we'll follow him all the way onto his flying lap. As a new fastest lap from Mint Cash Royale, 138.9. Imadi now 2.4 seconds off the pace. This track is obviously drying out very nicely as the water gets cleared. Hyper.
Yeah, of course. And I believe that was Phantom then that's just shot up to the top of the table with a new second second lap, and obviously Dean now again
goes another 7/10 quicker than the fastest time. I'm into the low 138s now, 138.1. You know, it seems to be anything you can do, I can do better at the moment.
Yeah, it seems to be quite eventful at the front of the grid. Down the bottom of the pack, not so much. But it's obviously a lot easier in the wet, as you said, obviously with the battery maintaining and things like this. But I mean, it's so much different in the dry, whereas, say, for example, through, I believe it's turn 5, 6 and 7, through the very tight, fast chicane, it can be very, very sort of unruly, and it can be very sort of unpredictable, as unfortunately Hariberman saw last session. He got 3 invalidated laps in a row, and it's very difficult to get the grips of it. Say, for example, if you take too much on the inside curb, you can spin or you can lose traction, losing you a hell of a lot of time. And I just hope he doesn't make these same mistakes in F1, because he can't afford to. Everyone's just got a lot more pace.
Yeah, I mean, the whole thing in the rain is to definitely not be too greedy on the throttle, not to be too greedy on the curbs either. You just want to try and keep it between the white lines, on that nice dry line as the track dries out, and just try and just keep it on the island and see what you can do. That, you know, sometimes if you're too greedy, you push too hard, you end up costing yourself. And we saw that with Haribo in F2, 3 invalidated laps in a row. At the moment, still yet to set a lap here, along with 5 others in this session, along with Kizzy, who has retired. We're on board with Kevin Cal at the moment. He is 4 seconds down on his previous time, so that would currently put him round about 4th or 5th place. Let's see if he can shave some more time off as he's in the final sector now, heading down towards the line into that final left-hander over the curb. Sometimes it's better to avoid the curb. A nice and wide exit there, keeps it nice and controlled, not too much wheel spin. Comes across the line and will set a 1:38.4, which takes him 2nd place. Still 1.5 seconds off I'm a D, but with the way this championship is going, you know, it is a fight for 2nd place in a lot of these races. And if you can get yourself up into that top 3, anything can happen in the race. Kerem Kalabasi goes 2nd. He's just 0.3 off I'm a D. So he's currently sitting on a 137.1 roughly, 137.2 I believe. So it's starting to get interesting as we head towards the end of the session. Just 5.5 minutes left. It's definitely going to be a tight one. It's like I say, still 4 cars now to set a time in this session. Perhaps waiting for those track conditions to dry out fully before the end of the session.
Yeah, of course. And obviously with Kevin Cowell obviously dropped down a little bit, a few positions since what you said, but obviously Phantom again has taken 3rd with and is 4 tenths off the leader at the moment. And can we just talk about Armady, our provisional pole sitter right now? I mean, these laps have been consistently, obviously since Kerem just set a lap, has just been blowing everyone out of the water and seems completely dominant in the way at the moment.
Yeah, I mean he's very good at stringing a lap together. People can get close to him, but he always seems to have that little bit of extra pace. He knows exactly where to be on the track, exactly where to put the throttle down, and that is why he's getting such great lap times in the qualifying sessions so far this season. I think Carabo Man is currently on his out lap. Let's go on board with him. I believe he's on lap. No, he's got in lap.
Yeah. CJ puts it up into 5th.
Yeah, CJ
1.5 seconds.
1.5 seconds off the lead, but up into 5th place. He's had a bit of a horrible start to the season, really. I think let's just have a look here where he is. He's not in the top 10. He's currently sitting in the championship, 30th in the championship, so he'll be hoping for a good points haul this weekend. The Alpines look like they were looking for a good points finish last time out, but I think that it all got ruined towards the end with some penalties involved with bits and pieces, so the Alpines will be hoping for a better weekend today. Bora Alkan, the 2nd place man in the championship, still yet to set a lap in this session. Perhaps he's waiting for that track to be very dry before setting a lap. Epic the Animal as well, one of the quicker cars on the grid in the Ferrari, still yet to set a lap. So like I say, we're on board with CJH at the moment. I think he's obviously just set his lap at the track who's actually on out lap and who's not. We'll go on board with O'Wise here. I think he's on a flying lap, judging by the way he took the curb through that corner there. It's that corner there as well, that sort of hairpin. It's really difficult in the wet because it's so greasy, and as soon as you go offline, if you try and go around the outside, it's incredibly hard to try and keep your position or keep the pace. You know, it's a difficult one.
Yeah, of course. And obviously coming out of going up in towards the very tight chicane there before the back straight, on that corner before the first corner into the chicane, obviously since the last game and since last year that we were here, it's been a very big change through that corner, because obviously there wasn't a wall and there was a lot more runoff to what there is now.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's a difficult wall. It's one of them ones where if you clip it, it's similar to the castle section in Baku. If you clip it wrong, you know, you're out of the race and you can cause a massive pile up if you clip it on time. So let's just have a look as this session's starts up here. 2 minutes and 15 seconds remain. And GGWPFC currently top of the standings, 136.7. Wow. He's got a 10th faster than I'm a D, who I imagine will be out for another lap if he's got the time for it. Yeah, he's come back out now, so he's going to try and challenge GGWPFC for the pole position. As Mink Kestrel goes top now.
Oh, wow.
This track looks bone dry at the moment, Hyper. Do you think that some cars will try it on the slip tyres before the end of the session?
Well, I mean, it really does depend where you currently sit on the grid. I mean, me personally,
have some soft tyre runners out there. I'm a D on soft tyres, So he's going to gamble. CJH on soft tyres, Mindmaster on soft tyres, Wes on soft tyres, and Epic the Animal on soft tyres. This is what they were waiting for, those cars, I think. Those cars who had not set a lap, they were waiting for the slick weather, and it's come, and they may well capitalise on this and set some faster times than what they were on the intermediate tyres. What do you think, Hyper?
Well, I mean, as we just saw, DRS now has been enabled, and obviously I think it was very strategic for the current back runners, such as Epic the Animal, and obviously Weezos, is that how we say it?
Oh, Wise, yeah. I'm not sure yet.
Yeah, as well as Mindmaster, of course, who have seemed to have waited out the rain, and have assumably made their cars quite light. I was about to mention, after you'd said that, if you hadn't had mentioned it already, of course, that the track was in fact drying out, and it could really switch up the order here.
Yeah, so let's just go on board with Imad, because I think he's going to be one of the first ones to set a lap on those dry tyres. Unfortunately, at the moment, it looks like he's sitting mighty close to that Mercedes in front of him. He's going to slow down a little bit to get the gap. We're going to go on board with him for his final lap of the session. With 21 seconds to go, he's going to get time in for his final lap. Those cars behind him will have to be very cautious not to get caught out by the time as Imad goes over the line and will go on his first flying lap of the session then. Into the first right corner, nice and tidy through there, no wheel spin at all, taking the curbs through there, pretty much flat, no sliding at all. That track looks bone dry, it looks perfect for soft tyres. Minkestrel, your leader at the moment, on a 134.3. Imad, let's see what he can do for the first sector. Very clean and tidy lap so far, by the looks of it. Not struggling for traction. What's he going to set through that first sector then? He's 4 seconds down on the fastest
Kevin Cow sets the current fastest lap of
132.9. That's on intermediate tyres. Imad here could have a massive margin to Kevin Cow, who's currently provisional pole position at the moment. Will Imad get tripped up here by the traffic though? He's coming through this hairpin section with the chicane following. He's very close to the cars in front. He could end up tripping over those cars as we come down the straight into the final corner, or he could get a very nice tail of them. Let's have a look. He's 7 seconds down on his former time at the moment.
We saw that through the first sector there, D was absolutely wringing the neck of that Red Bull of his, like through that chicane, and it is incredibly risky doing that like this close to the rain, because obviously that dry line has really started to come through. However, if you slightly move off that line, there is still quite a lot of
confidence in the car, and let's see what he can do here. Wes goes fast on 128. Imad goes fastest with a 127.5. That is one hell of a lap by Imad on a newly dried track. Had real confidence in the car and reaps the rewards for it. So Imad on pole position for the Grand Prix. A wet to dry qualifying session has led to a really interesting session there, and I'm sure will lead to a very interesting race. So a quick rundown of the top 10 in the order for the race then. Imad in first. Wes gets second place in that Mercedes. Epic the Animal third. CJ in the Alpine in fourth, on course for some good points potentially. Minkestrel fifth. Phantom Fox sixth. Detective Midge seventh. Karem Kalabasi eighth. Bora Alkan ninth. And Haribo Man 10th. The bottom six, Kevin Cowell will start in 11th. Dan Lutoni in 12th. GGW PFC in 13th. Owise 14th. Mindmaster 15th. And Kizzy, who did not set a lap in that session, in 16th. So them soft tyre runners really reaping the rewards for waiting for their opportunity there, Hyper.
Yeah, of course. And obviously, as we saw with, as I was saying a second ago, obviously with D, he was absolutely wringing the neck of that Red Bull, and it is incredibly risky to do so that close off of the rain, because of course on the dry line it obviously dried the heat of the back of those cars. Of course, it dries up very quickly when the rain stops, and it is quite risky coming out on those softs, because when you're going through that chicane at 150 plus miles an hour, obviously all it takes is a slight drift off the line, and you could go spin into a barrier, of course, because there's still so much standing water off the racing line that hasn't been cleared up yet.
Absolutely, that's going to lead to an amazing race start, I think, here, because there's some cars that usually aren't in the positions that they they usually take up, CJ being one of them, usually towards the back of the pack, is starting on the second row for the race here today. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens in the early stages here, as there's going to be a mismatch of pace, I think, towards the front of the field. It could lead to some accidents, perhaps. Let's just take a look. We're just moments away from lights out here in Miami for a dry start to the race. It's going to be an interesting one.
Yeah, of course, and obviously, to be fair,
here we are then. Lights are on. We've got 5 red lights. And it's pedal to the metal here in Miami as Imadi gets away the fastest so far. Wes is on the inside, but Imadi looks to have cleared him. Gives him a little bit of a space. It's a clean start. Although it's a McLaren round at the back there. It's Karem Kalabasi spun round on the first corner. And he has to try and recover as we'll head back to the top of the field now. Imadi still leading. Closely followed by Epic the Animal.
Epic the Animal makes
Wes. Wes.
Epic the Animal. Epic. Oh, I can't talk. Epic the Animal has made up a position.
Yeah, he's made up a good position there. It's Wes who follows in third. Mink Coach, of course, closely followed by CJ in fifth. He's going to have to try and hold on to that Ferrari of Phantom Fox behind him. But like I said, bit of a pace mismatch between some of these cars. The Ferrari of Phantom Fox will have proper confidence. He's had a good start to the season so far. He's got the winning Bahrain, of course. Unluckily on the strategy. Is he's going to go down the inside? No, he's going to bail out of it. And CJ will keep his position at the start. So far, bar the incident with Karem, a clean start to the race. Karem, unfortunately, there to be sat right at the back of the bag, and he'll be hoping for some sort of safety car or a gamble on the wet weather to get himself back into this race. So Imadi leading Epic the Animal by 0.4 of a second at the moment. All the cars concertina
of course,
through that chicane section, and then down the straight they go. Piper, what have you noticed so far?
Well, obviously, say for example with Kizzy down in the bottom, he's starting 16th, and at the end of the first lap, he's moved himself up into 12th. Obviously, he's clearly as people say, locked in, and he's really moving that RB. He's moved up 4 positions so far.
Yeah, Kizzy, who didn't even set a qualifying time, has moved up 4 places in the race. For Alcan, second place in the championship, currently down. In 11th place will be points because TFR award points to teams to places outside the top 10. I think we'll award down to 15th, so he will pick up points, but nowhere near the points he'll need to be able to chase out Imadi, his first place in the championship at the moment. Order is staying the same at this moment in time. We're going to take a look further down the field. We're going to look at Phantom Fox here. So he appears to be under threat from Detective Midge as we come onto the second lap. Detective Midge will have DRS on him, I believe. Yep, he opens that flap up.
Oh, he's going around the outside.
He's going to go around the outside. He's level with the Ferrari coming into the corner. He's got an Alpine in front of him, though. There's a look-up from a Haas there. And Phantom Fox will hold off the Williams. So the Williams will take the inside through the hairpin, though. It's tight racing.
Light bit of contact.
Gives him a bit of space, and the Ferrari will get the nose in front into the chicane there. As CJ holding on nicely in a 5th there. Obviously being slightly dropped by the Mercedes, who's sitting in 4th. There seems to be a little bit of a DRS train forming up in the top 4 of the pack. Further down the pack, yeah, CJ now out of DRS. But let's just take a look at the fight between the Williams and the Ferrari again. Williams decides not to make a move there. A few people having a look a bit further down the order. Let's have a look here towards the back of the pack as Karem Kalabasi now up to 13th after that early spin. There's a bit of a looseness from My Master, who couldn't quite get the traction coming out of the final corner there. Back up the pack. Where do we go? Imadi still leading this race, closely followed by Mink Kestrel and Epic the Animal. These 3, I believe, were following each other all the way through China, and there was some, late moves in the race to get positions made. The Animal, I think, ended up finishing 2nd in that race. So, yeah, like I say, it's all to play for here. We're lap 3 out of 29, 26 laps of racing to go. It's going to be an interesting, really dry race, I believe. So, it should be pretty plain sailing from here, but anything can happen in these races.
Yeah, of course, and obviously we have Kizzy right now. He's moved up now 5 positions. Harriman moved up 1, and Kevin Powell moving up 3 positions. We got up at the top of the grid now. We have Mink Kestrel as well, who's also moved up 3 places. I'm just perplexed currently with what's happening between this the Scarlet Red Ferrari of Phantom Fox and Detective Midge here, as he's moving that Williams in very impressive ways. And obviously we saw a few laps ago where they was going side by side through that second sector there, I didn't think that the Williams was going to be able to hold that through into the chicane, because it obviously is incredibly difficult, and it's very much so more difficult to leave room around the outside, as obviously because of how tight it is and the speed that you're going as you carry that car through those turns.
Yeah, I mean, that Williams has done very well to stick with that Ferrari. Whether he's going to be able to stick with him and make the move stick is yet to be seen. Once we have a look at tyres, everyone on the 3-lap old medium, so it's equal on the tyre strategy in this race at the moment. CJ 2.5 seconds on 4th place now, so he's holding on to 5th. He's going to hope he doesn't come under attack, but all the while that the Williams and the Ferrari behind him are fighting, he's got a chance to scamper up the road and get away. The Williams on the outside now, trying to close in on that Ferrari before they go up that long back straight. He's going to have DRS again for Williams on the Ferrari. The Ferrari will also have DRS on CJ, but nowhere near close enough to make a move as the Williams goes down the inside of the Ferrari on the straight and looks to have made the move stick before the corner. Nice clean racing between Detective Midge and Phantom Fox, and the Williams is up to 6th place now, and he'll go down, chasing down CJH now, I'm sure.
Yeah, of course, and obviously it's slightly given flashbacks between what happened with Lewis and Carlos in Miami and a few months ago.
Yeah, absolutely. There's lots of correlation between these league races and real life. Every race there seems to be at least one thing that reminds you of a similar situation in the real life F1. Detective Midge here, he's closing down on the Alpine of CJH, not close enough to make a move, but will he follow him into that first corner on the main straight here? He looks to be close enough. It's 4/10 off the Alpine. If he can dump a bit of battery here, he might be able to get past the Alpine into turn 1. Let's just have a look and stick with him. No, not quite close enough. CJ, I think, has used a bit of battery there to keep him down. Let's just check in our leader, I'm the D. So only 4/10 in front of Nick Kestrel. Nick Kestrel, though, a whole second, 1.2 seconds off of 3rd place. So it's a race for P1 between the top 2 at the moment. The Animal just dropping back and holding on to that P3. And he's only actually 3 or 4 tenths clear of Wes in 4th. So there seems to be a battle for P1 and a battle for P3 unfolding at the moment. All the while CJ in 5th, trying to hold on to that 5th place, but it looks like the Williams is going to be able to hunt him down over these next coming laps. Let's stay with this battle for the moment. How quickly do you think the Williams can get the move done here, Hyper?
Well, judging on personal experience, I mean, I personally would leave it until the back straight and then catch him up on the DRS, because obviously the DRS around this track is just so incredibly strong, and obviously with the slipstream and the help of DRS as well, he's just, at this point, we're looking at, like, this Alpine is going to be a sitting duck, and obviously, as we've seen so far in this race, Detective Midge is not one to be reckoned with. His pace has been incredible so far, so I mean, it's going to be quite difficult for CJ to hold him behind here.
Yeah, so CJ tries to break the toe, but it doesn't look like it's going to be enough. The Williams is going to swoop to the inside here and get the move done before the braking zone as well. So CJ drops from 5th down to 6th. He's now going to have to fend off the Ferrari and Phantom Fox behind him. Bit of loss of traction coming out the final corner there, but it seems to be sticking quite well with the Williams actually, as he's going to pop the DRS wing open. He's going to have a look at the Williams down in turn 1 here. He might try and go around the outside. It does.
Oh,
gets
wow.
the place back. That is incredible racecraft there from CJ, who, oh, there's a bit of contact between the Williams and the Alpine, and they're still butting tyres. Williams goes off the track. The Ferrari in scarlet red tries sniffing around, but can't take the position of the Williams. It's all getting a bit feisty in that fight for 5th at the moment, Hyper.
Yeah, of course. And obviously, if we look a bit further down the grid as well, we've got Kizzy, who's now caught up 6 positions. That's very impressive. But back with this battle between this Williams and Ferrari, just and the obviously of CJ with that incredible move down in turn 1. Just wow. I was not expecting that at all.
Yep, so CJ holding on to 5th position. He has got the Williams behind him again here. He's going to have a look on the outside, not quite close enough. You feel he's just going to wait for that long, straight back straight to try and make the move. So far then, an interesting race. Like you say, Kizzy, up to 9th place now, 7 positions. Oh no, he's dropped back down to 10th. But 6 positions from the start of the race, from the back of the grid, up to 10th. He's on course to get some healthy points in that RB car this afternoon. As we stay with CJ here, down the back straight, the Williams is hunting around behind, and the Ferrari chasing down the Williams as well. CJ could end up giving 2 positions away here if he doesn't play his cards right. He's going to have to defend for that Williams again. He'll stay in front of him into the braking zone though. Doesn't particularly move, just stays where he is, and the Williams doesn't fancy a move down into the final corner. Again, lots of traction there from CJ on the exit of the final corner, but stays in front into the main straight here. Let's just hop on board and see how much battery he's got left. Not much. There's not much battery left on board that Alpine. It takes a lot of curb into turn 1, but sticks in 5th place at the moment. You feel that maybe
Takes it.
a lot of battery to defenders. There's caution in turn 1. It's cleared now. Not sure who that was. Oh, it's a Mercedes of my master. He spun it round. Also, Bora Alkan's picked up a penalty there. Let's just have a look at what that penalty is. A 10-second penalty for Bora Alkan. I think it might be pit stop related potentially, but my master had spun it round. We'll check back in with our leader, who's increased the gap a little bit on P2. Minkesh was still within DRS, but a 4/10 worse off than what he was the first time we checked in on this race for P1. Epic 2.2 off of Minkesh now, so that toe Minkesh is getting from IMD is really helping to pull him away from Epic the Animal. Wes just 2/10 off of Epic here. We're going to tune in with this battle here between the Ferrari and the Mercedes, as I think the Mercedes might just be close enough to be able to make a move here potentially. Let's have a look.
This is about to get very interesting. Obviously, as we see, there seems to be...
Mercedes moves to the inside, sorry, and Wes does get the move done. And Epic drops out of the top 3 for the first time in this race. Will he have the pace to fight that one back, I wonder? Hyper, I'll let you continue.
Thank you. It seems like... well, now Midge has put a bit of a corner in the bottle here with a 9.4 second gap to Mint in P4, who has now just boxed.
He's got a 10-second penalty as well, Mint, as didn't manage to get the car slowed down before the timing line. It's a difficult pit lane here in Miami to do that, and if you haven't got the assists on, it is, you know, it's a risky run. He's getting that penalty, and yeah, unfortunately, Mint Kestrel may have just ruined his race for P1 there, as he's got a 10-second penalty. He's going to hope that IMD does the same thing coming into the pits, but yeah, unless he's got a safety car to serve that under, that's his race ruined. Bora Alkan leaves the session. Looks like he may have retired from this race potentially. He may join us back. I'm not entirely sure if he's disconnected or not, but we're on board with Effie the Animal, who's back up to 3rd, but only because of my master pitting. He's still chasing down the Mercedes of Wes. Let's just clock back in with CJH, who's lost positions now to both Phantom Fox and Detective Midge, and is trying to fend off the Aston Martin of Kevin Cal now, who's hunting way behind him. I think CJ might be suffering with tyre wear quite a bit here. There's a move from the Sauber on the McLaren of Karem Kalabassi, who has to go off track. Lots of ghosting going on there from the Sauber. Somebody's hit the wall. Couldn't quite work out who that was.
That was Kevin Cal.
Yeah, Kevin Cal's a big thump on the wall there. We're going to hop on board with him as he comes down. CJ on this main track, not quite close enough to make a move. Let's hop back with the Sauber again, who's got the RB of Kizzy right behind him. He moves to the inside of the Sauber. Kizzy on the outside. Sauber carries the pace into the corner and stays ahead. Kizzy just standing patient and waiting his turn. We're not seeing any cars jumping. Oh, we are seeing a couple of cars jumping the pits. With Williams and Detective Midge and Phantom Fox both boxing. So Phantom Fox can get a nice quick stop here. Bolting on the hard tyres. Off he goes. Nice quick stop for him. Let's check in with our Williams and Detective Midge. Yeah, he gets back out ahead of Phantom Fox. So no position changes in the pit lane between them two, as well, I saw a big battle. Yeah, there's a big battle going on here. Kizzy leading the way with Mint Kestrel in 7th, closely following the Sauber as well, sniffing around there, and the McLaren of Karem Kalabassi. So there's a 4-way fight going on here for P7. So Mint Kestrel, unfortunately, on that 10-second penalty. He's on the fresher tyres out of the bunch of them, I believe. But they're all racing each other wheel to wheel and very hard as well.
Yeah, of course. It's been a very impressive race so far for Kizzy, up now in 7th. Obviously due to quite a few pit stops, I believe. But so far he's had an incredible drive. Obviously we've seen everyone from 11th downwards has stopped, so that could be a big factor on why he's up the grid. But I'm very interested, as we've seen GG just hit the wall there a little bit. I'm very interested to see what's going to happen here, because obviously everyone up towards the front side of the grid has kind of got level heading with their tyres. Wes has just come into the pits there. No outstanding penalty currently, but we've now got IMD has just he's got a very large gap now out in front of 5.5 seconds, I believe that was.
CJ jumps in the pits as well. He was riding in 4th place before the stop. And gets going again. So it's all to play for. Mint is up to second, obviously with that 10-second penalty. That would probably put him lower than 7th place right now, I believe. Put him down, yeah, but put him down to 7th, I believe. If that penalty stays as it is. Obviously, he's 15 seconds off the leader, Ahmadi, but I don't think Ahmadi has boxed yet. Still on those original medium tyres, Ahmadi at the moment. So lots to play for. I think Ahmadi has noticed that Mint has got that penalty behind him, maybe just staying out that extra few laps on the medium tyres to avoid maybe pit lane traffic perhaps, and get a nice nice re-entry back onto the circuit into maybe some clean air. We'll wait to see. So who's your money on as we're on lap 10 and a third of the way through the race, Hyper? Who's your money on for winning this one? Who's your money on for the top 3 even? Because I think Ahmadi's got this one written down in first, but top 3, what's your predictions?
Well, it's going to be very interesting, obviously, as we're not even halfway through the race yet, and we've had quite a lot of action. Say, for example, well, I mean, it is going to be quite interesting because obviously Ahmadi has now got a 14.6 second gap on Mint, because obviously people have pitted or had penalties or such, but as of the front half of the last lap, he was maintaining pace, and he does seem to be gaining and losing in some points of the track. So it's not as if he's losing major time. I reckon he could last out those tyres for a little bit longer, maybe a few more laps, and then box. But however, on the other hand,
the thing he doesn't want to do is set himself short, because obviously we've still got a long way to go in this race, but he needs the time to be able to make those positions up that he's going to lose when he boxes. And the longer he stays out, the closer Mint Kestrel's getting to him. And the more cars there's going to be to get through as his tyres drop off and everyone else is saying better lap times on their fresher tyres, surely.
Yeah, of course. And we've if we bring it back down into 4th and 5th, we've got a little bit of a battle going on, or about to happen, between the Aston Martin of Kevin Cow and the Mercedes of Wesu for 3rd and 4th currently. It's looking quite interesting between these two. Obviously, as we saw with Kevin Cow, he hit those tyres quite hard on the wall coming out of the about 2 or 3 laps ago. So he might have quite a lot of wear on the right-hand side of that Aston Martin of his. But I mean, and he lightly taps it again there as we come through that that corner going onto the back straight, and it seems that
he's out of the DRS now. He was close. He was following so closely to that Mercedes, and it seems to just chucked it all away. I would hate to think what condition that rear right tyre is in, because he keeps banging it against that outside wall on that corner before that long main back straight, and it ruins his run down the straight. And so yeah, 2.8 seconds he is off him now. He looked so close just a moment ago. And I think he's now gone into the pits. I don't think he'd actually boxed. I mean, he was still on those original medium tyres, so was never really in a race with the Mercedes. We're going to hop back on board with the animal here, sitting in 4th place. But currently, I think, just sniffing around that podium position, if Mint Kestrel does get that 10-second penalty at the end of the race, Epic Animal will want to be within inside that 10-second radius to capitalise on that penalty that Mint has got.
Yeah, of course. And obviously, Epic the Animal has only lost, I don't believe he's pitted yet, and he's only lost 1 position, so he is maintaining the pace quite well on those old medium tyres.
Yeah, still on the old mediums, actually. I've just noticed that. It's very well pointed out by still on the old mediums. It seems to be pretty comfortable on them as well. He has got a Williams behind him, who is on... I'm trying to have a look at the tyres on here. It's tyres, so he's on fresher tyres, and he's closing in on Epic. So, Epic here is going to have a bit of work to do, but he's going to have much fresher tyres towards the end of this race. Obviously, if it is a one-stop, these medium tyre runners are going to, who are boxed up the car slightly later, are going to have a much greater advantage the longer they stay out on these mediums to weave their way back through the pack. Because tyre wear around Miami, I don't know about you, Mike, but I find it horrendous. It's one of the worst tracks on the game for tyre wear.
Yeah, I do believe so. When we were racing not too long ago, it did seem to be quite difficult. Obviously, as I took the lead quite early on in the race, I noticed around about lap 2 or 3, I believe my front tyre was on something like 16 to 17%, and it's absolutely diabolical around here. So it takes incredible skill to be able to drive this track effectively and maintain good pace on old tyres quite well.
Yeah, there's definitely some corners where the tyres take an absolute hammering. around those S's, especially the high-speed corners, that outside right tyre, it takes a real hammering because it's high speed and all the weight of the car is pushing down that front right tyre. So that's probably where that sort of high percentage on your front tyre came from. I mean, in the sprint race for me, that was only 7 laps, and by the end of it, my mediums felt like they were made out of ice. They were so slippery, you couldn't get any more traction out of any corners. So it is something to take into note here, tyre wear, and that's why maybe that these medium runners are putting away. The longer I can stay out and hold on with these mediums, the better chance I've got with this sort of hard tyres.
Yeah, of course, and obviously it's one of those tracks. Obviously, it's nowhere near as unforgiving as China when it comes to tyre wear. But as we saw last week, that was quite worrying for. Well, I mean, it's quite bad in general with tyre wear. I don't think the weather conditions helped either, with obviously the rain coming in quite late. And some people boxing, some people not. It's quite difficult to anticipate and sort of predict what's going to happen, and it does take a lot of pre-thinking on what's going to happen.
Yep, so Armide's boxed here on lap 13, come out on lap 14 on a fresh set of hards, and he's slotted in just behind Epic the Animal, who's still yet to box. So he's going to have a tyre advantage on the leader, but what he's got to hope is the leader doesn't make too much time up on him while he's on his out lap, and all the while he's in front of him, he's got a chance of holding him up.
Yeah, of course, and obviously, as I said earlier, that gap when he was in P1, when everyone behind him started to pit, he had quite. Oh wow, what happened there? Armidi has moved up to P3.
Yeah, Armidi's
fighting Epic the Animal.
He's taken over Epic the Animal. Obviously, Epic on those older mediums maybe didn't hold him up quite as much as he would have liked while Armidi's on his outlap. So he's going to lose some time to him on the undercut, but Armidi going to have Epic the Animal going to have the freshest set of hard tyres when he bolts them on. I've got a feeling he might be coming in at the end of this lap. It'll be, I think, a bit unsensible to keep these medium tyres on for much longer because, like I say, they're going to be overtaken by the race leader on those old wheel tyres. So, following this top 5 closely, I mean, 2 cars in the top 5 with 10-second penalties. The 2 cars outside the top 5 also with 10-second penalties. But, yeah, so interestingly though, Epic staying out again on the medium tyres. What is he trying to do here, do you reckon, Mike? Do you reckon he's trying to really extend this stint, maybe hoping for a safety car at some point? What's his thinking?
Well, I mean, to be honest with you, I'm not really clued up on what the weather is looking like in F1 currently, but
it's a completely dry race.
It's a complete wow. Okay, that's not expected. I mean, I don't really see what he's going for here. Obviously, he may have seen the tyre wear being as bad as it is on the mediums, and possibly he's looking to go for an overcut for his hards. So obviously he'll have the fresher hards. But I mean, I've been looking at Mint Kestrel currently, who's on 2 lap older hards, mediums, than Wes, who is 2.3 seconds behind him and has been catching him for the last few laps. And that window is closing, but it's up to him whether he holds it where it is and throws it into the pits. But obviously with that time penalty, it is going to change quite a lot with what happens in the next few laps. And obviously we've got drivers like, say, Kizzy up in P7, who's had an incredible drive so far, as well as, say, Phantom Fox and Detective Midge as well.
Sorry, I reckon. I just had a graphic off my screen here. It shows Epic's tyre wear. He's 40% all around, but his tyres, he's saying a 10-lap old medium.
And he's done it again.
Started on 16, I don't think he's box. Yeah, something like that. So 10 laps old. But obviously, it's showing Armidi's tyres are 9 laps old. I'm still not sure it's correct because he's not one of the box last lap. So I'm not sure how that's correct. But it said that I'm emptying a 9% tyre wear, Epic on 40, and he's still staying out. So I wonder what he's trying to do here. He's within 10 seconds of the race leader though, so maybe that's part of his thinking. Is that, maybe Kestrel, obviously with that kind of time he's net on the podium at the moment, I think.
Possibly. I mean, me personally, I don't really see what strategy he's choosing to go for here. But I can confirm that D up in the P3 there is on 2 lap old hards. But I mean, I don't really understand what he's trying to go for, because though, as you just said, 40% all round, and most definitely even more now. is just, it's unheard of really to choose to stay out of the pits for that long on tyres that are so sort of like severed, and they're just, well, they're on their way out, aren't they? And obviously with the current state of how the track is, it's very warm, and throwing these cars around the way they are, their tyres are gonna die quite swiftly, and it is going to be quite difficult. And obviously, he is still currently losing time to Amadi in front, and I mean, he's got a pit.
He stays out
That's just
again, Epic. I do wonder what his strategy is here. As Mick Petrol is in, and he's serving his time penalty. So I wonder if Epic is going for the one stop here, and Imad and other cars are going medium, hard, medium, or medium, hard, soft. They're going on two stop, and they're going to stretch these mediums out for the one stop, perhaps. There's still 17 laps on a set of medium tyres. So he's got over half the race on a set of mediums. I wonder what his thoughts are here, what he's trying to do.
Well, I mean, to be fair to the Ferrari man, he is keeping that Ferrari on track incredibly well for the health of his current tyres. And I mean, I don't think I've ever in my in my 4 years of racing, I don't think I've ever met a driver that would choose to stay out on those tyres. I mean, surely he's got to box this lap. I mean, he's gone over halfway on those tyres, and it's incredible how he's still choosing to stay out.
You know, you have to give it to him. He's keeping it really tidy. Obviously, he's leaving time because there is less grip in his tyres, but he's keeping it within the white lines. And you know, he's still setting pretty good lap times for a car that's on a set of 17 lap old medium tyres. We'll stay with him again to see if he does box this lap. It's going to be interesting to see whether he is going to actually now box after Mick's having the box.
He stays out again. Wow.
Stays out again. Oh my goodness me! I wonder what he's trying to do here. I mean, he is on the podium at the moment. He's on.
I mean,
the graphics just come up on the screen again here, showing 10 lap old medium, 60% on the outside tyres. I mean, that's probably, if that's outdated data, that's 8 laps ago. So I take those tyres on now. If that is up to date data, then obviously still not very good. They're very uncomfortable to drive that thing now, clearly, as he looks to be struggling a little bit round the S's, a bit more than he was. I really want to know what's going through his head right now, because it's certainly a strange strategy. Imad back into the lead, weighs 1.8 seconds of it, the animal cover decision. So hasn't made a position up, but he's going to have to box before the end of the session. Because you can't stay out on the same tyre compound for the entire race unless you're on intermediates or wet tyres.
Yeah, of course. And I mean, to be honest, for someone who was sat in that car just under an hour ago, it is incredibly difficult to maintain that. He's maintained those tyres on for 18 laps. I mean, mine were half the health that we had our last checkup for on his, in the second lap. And I mean, it's just, I mean, the main thing that he must be doing with those tyres, I mean, I wasn't really thinking of it, but it must just be so immense, and that could be a main factor of what. He's running to the pit lane now. Is he going to get the car slowed? Oh, he's got a 10-second time penalty as he dives into the pit lane.
Speeding all away. Any hard work that he just put in there has thrown it all away with that 10-second time penalty. Obviously, Mick Kestrel has served his time penalty, sitting down in 10th, but Epic, he's got a 10-second time penalty to serve. If not, it'll be added to his final race total. And yeah, that is really unfortunate. As we report with Kizzy, he's up to 8th place now. So Kizzy made up some really nice positions in this race. Started 16th and up to 8th position, putting in a really good drive and closing in on Kevin Cow, who's 7 tenths off him now.
Yeah, of course, and obviously I think it's quite safe to say who it looks like is going to win this race with 10 laps left of Miami, and Imad is 11 seconds in front of mid behind, who I believe has a 10-second time penalty. So I mean, it's going to be really interesting what happens next. And obviously Karem behind him with a penalty too, and they're quite close together as well. So it could be quite interesting between these two, as the Mercedes is definitely gaining on him behind, and it is very much looking like the silver arrow Wes is going to go for the overtake on.
Yeah, let's stay with this battle now. Wes just a tenth off him as we go into the DRS zone. He's going to get next to him prior to the DRS, and it looks like he's going to get this move done. Yeah, he's got the move done prior to that braking zone. So he's up to third place, he's on the podium, and with the penalties around him, he may well stay there. And it also, he may even get a P2 here, because Detective Midge, in second place, has that 10-second time penalty, and yeah, it's looking very positive for Wes here. Looks like he could get some healthy points out of this Miami Grand Prix. As Caution in sector 3. Is that I wonder? Oh, it's cleared now. Didn't quite catch who that was, but yeah, Wes is looking very pacey and cutting time into the Detective Midge now. Just 7 seconds off him. So it's going on the hub. Epic up to 5th. Obviously with that 10-second time penalty, that'll knock him pretty much all the way down to P10. So unfortunately for him, his tyre whispering on those medium tyres has not paid off. And with that 10-second time penalty, it's really going to cost him.
Yeah, of course. And obviously, I think it's right to note that he's currently in a sandwich of cars that also have a 10-second time penalty, with CJ in 6th and the Papaya McLaren of Karem in front of him. However, he is definitely on much younger tyres than Karem. Karem is just under 10 laps at old cards. And
yeah, I mean CJ only on a 3-second time penalty, but you know the cars behind him. If this race was to finish now, he would finish down in 9th position. He dropped 3 places because the cars behind him are so close to him. And Kevin Cow getting closer and closer. But Kevin Cow's going to get dived on by the Haas now, who locks up into the final corner, but gets the move done and gets past the Aston Martin of Kevin Cow. CJ going to come into the pits now on those hard tyres. He's going to go on 2 soft plus for the looks of it. Kevin Cow will move up to 6th. And I see Faraboy Man is retired from the session, unable to keep the pace in the session works.
Yeah, I mean that's a shame. But I mean at the same time, at the start of the season, with his absolute dominant race in Bahrain, he was accused of being F1 pace, and I mean I hope, and there was quite a lot of protests against it, and obviously I hope he's shown now that, I mean, obviously he's not yet quite cut out for it, but he has got a lot of talent, and I do believe that one day he could get to this pace. It's such a shame for now, though. I mean, in F2, he's absolutely dominant, and he was at least in Bahrain, and he's currently leading the championship. So, I mean, it's not even a case of he's a slow driver. I think it's just a case of it's just an unlucky race, and hopefully, if B29 hasn't returned, he could have another whack at it next week.
I've just noticed Kizzy and CJ both in drive-through penalties now, so that's their race was ruined. I'm not quite sure what that's from. Let's just have a check in here and see if we can see on the screen. Corner cutting is.
Oh wow!
Oh, that's a warning. Sorry, no, that was for collision with Bora Alcan. I've got here. Sorry, I'm reading the complete wrong end of the order here. Let's have a look. CJH speeding under the virtual safety car. For both CJ and Kizzy. So they've been given drive-through penalties, and that's their race is ruined. As we'll check in with our leader, Imadi, who's a whole 17 seconds clear of P2 with 7 laps to go. What a race he's run, Hyper. Hyper?
Oh, apologies. Yeah, I mean, absolutely incredible with D now, 16.2 seconds ahead.
Yeah, he's unfortunately dropped a bit of time there to wait behind, but it doesn't look like he's going to get beaten this race with 15 seconds between him and second place. The race is really on for that final podium position though, because Karem and Epic both 10-second time penalties, so they're pretty much out to the battle for the podium here. Mint Kestrel, who obviously had that time penalty, looks like he may sneak his way back onto the podium after clearing it, so he's done the right thing here, and has benefited from serving that time penalty they got earlier on in the race. Kevin Cow 2.6 off for him, technically 8 seconds for him. CJ and GGWPFC have both cleared their drive-through penalties now, so they're down in 10th and 11th respectively. CJ will jump to GG at the end of this race. Still got that. Fox overtaken now by the Sauber. We'll stick it back on the outside. The Sauber can go wheel to wheel. We're going to the outside of the hairpin now. As CJ almost closely and just watches on from behind.
Wes sets the fastest lap of 1:29.3. I mean, I don't really understand the logic behind some of the drivers. Obviously, with the adrenaline and everything, it could be a little bit different. Obviously, as we've all experienced as drivers. But I mean, GG there with a 16-second time penalty. I mean, in my opinion, it's just completely pointless fighting it and throwing it around the outside in a Sauber like that. I mean, last season we had a free guy making the same kinds of moves, and it seems to be like a running pattern. And I mean, it seems to just be like a big scramble right now for between 9th, 10th, and 11th. And it's just, if I was GG, I'd just move out of the way. Like, he's got so much time worth of penalties. There's not much point, like now, throwing it down the inside of CJ.
CJ here, obviously 60 seconds on the clock, like you say. CJ, oh! They've crashed into each other. A bit of a lash out there maybe from GG, as CJ will eventually sweep past, but that's costing some time there. Is that a lash out from GG or just a loss of the car? We'll wait to see as we think about the straight and we'll see what happens next. But yeah, a little bit of feistiness towards into the straight. CJ at the moment looks as if he will finish 12th, I think, for that company. GG goes back past him again. These two fighting it right out. And CJ takes a lot of curve there. We'll take the inside line into the hairpin. We'll stick the nose out in front, and then Sauber will get the nose in front into the chicane. At least you're really backing out hard. You know, for me, there's no reason for GG to be fighting CJ this hard when he's tired, when he's got that much time on his back. You know, he may as well just let this race go at this point, because he's not going to clear them before the race. 5 laps to go. CJ has a little chance to back up the order. As I said, they're just squabbling, they're just fighting.
Oh!
And now we've got a lunge on the inside from Kizzy, and he's pinned CJ up against the wall, and that's CJ even more there. You have to feel sorry for him, my friend. You have to feel sorry for him.
Yeah, I mean, me and CJ have had our ups and downs, but I mean that was just incredibly like unreasonable. That was just so incredibly unsportsmanlike from GG. I mean, there was no need to like throw your car around those corners, putting everyone else around you in danger of a 16-second time penalty. I mean, in my opinion, he should have just pulled over, let Kizzy and CJ through, and well, I mean, at this rate, secured a decent position like for his amount of penalties. I mean, there's no point in ruining other drivers' races who have had a fairly good drive as well, with Kizzy obviously moving up and down the order. There's no point in dragging them down with you.
No, absolutely not. I mean, yeah, CJ there I think will be a very annoyed at what's just happened there, especially with Kizzy diving down the inside of that final corner, just ramming him into the wall. It's just topped it all off really. GG's been allowed to stomp off up the road now. I think he may have some extra penalties coming in his way potentially for the banging into CJ earlier on in that lap, and then I think we'll maybe see a penalty for Kizzy as well for the dive down the inside, ramming CJ into the wall. He's having a torrid time of it. Back there, CJ, I really do feel sorry for him. Just going to check back in with our top of the pack again. Epic Animal, obviously the third. He's 6 seconds off of Mink Kesher in the fourth, so we'll drop that place. But the lowest he can drop now is fifth. Karem, who's sitting fifth, the lowest he can drop is sixth. So they've, after the 10-second penalties, it's not actually going to be too bad for them. Just unless we get a very late red flag here. They look to be pretty safe in getting some decent points.
Yeah, of course, and obviously as I'm spectating Epic right now as he comes up into the chicane, he's really throwing that red Ferrari through those corners, and he does seem to be locking up a fair bit, like every other corner. So I mean, it does start to show signs of obviously his tyres are starting to lose some traction there. Obviously 6 laps old, but the tyre deck around this track is just so like fatal for those tyres. It must be incredibly difficult trying to keep up with the grid, let alone trying to maintain a position to sort of make up for your penalty, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, they've done incredibly well to prove themselves where they are, though. They're not going to lose. Obviously, they're not going to finish on the podium, either of them, but they're not going to lose massive points here. They're still going to be inside that top 5, which is where you want to be. Inside that top 6, which is where you want to be. that's the sort of strongest points on the grid really. So especially in this system that we use where we give out points down to 15, we can get decent ball inside that top 5 and 6. So 26 out of 29 laps now. I'm a D, currently 12 seconds in the lead. That lead has dropped down, but it doesn't look like he's going to lose that anytime soon. I'm just going to see who's close to who here. Kizzy's still going to chase down CJ here. Maybe, I think, not going to go for him, maybe out of respect for that incident in the corner, perhaps. I'm not entirely sure. But who else is close to each other here? It's sort of died out towards the end of this race, as Kevin Cowell picks up a 3-second time penalty, and that's unfortunate for him because he's only 2.5 seconds ahead of Phantom, and Phantom obviously a car with real pace, and he's 3 seconds out of the lap, so maybe Kevin Cowell doesn't have to worry quite as much as we thought he would.
Yeah, of course. I mean, I've just noticed now between obviously what you said between Kizzy and CJ. I mean, we saw it in the F2 race as well. I mean, I had a situation with one of the RBs of GVKP. It was quite an abrupt move, like down the inside, and I mean, I wasn't expecting it, and I did knock into him, and he lost his rear end and easily could have lost about 3 positions. It happens. It's a racing incident. Obviously, what's happened has happened, and obviously we move on to next week. But obviously, it's just out of respect. Obviously, you've kind of got to hit the brakes and give them back the position.
Yeah,
obviously,
it does happen.
between.
I mean, it happened to me in the F2 race as well. You know, into that final corner, especially in dirty air as well. The braking under dirty air this spring year seems to be really weird. You seem to lose brake pressure in dirty air. That and mixed with my pedals falling off the mount, it just meant I went straight in that final corner. Michael Lewis in that sort of opening phase of the F2 race. But coming into the closing stages of the F1 race here, 27 out of 29 laps gone. I'm a D, your race leader by 10 seconds. Wes is closing down then, but not. I think he's going to run out of time here to be able to catch him.
Yeah.
Kizzy's still 3/10 off of CJH, but maybe not quite close enough to make a move at this moment in time. He's going to get the position anyway because he's within 3 seconds of it. And he's also going to get 10th as well because GG with that 16-second time penalty. So he's going to get inside that top 10, Kizzy. Wise though, he's had a pretty torrid race. 41 seconds for Kizzy. On soft tyres. Unfortunately, he's had a pretty poor race as well. Toppers. There's some movement here between the Williams and the McLaren who swap positions here. Karem, who's got a 10-second time penalty, is still sort of 13 seconds clear of Kevin Cowell, so it is an out-and-out fight between the Williams and the McLaren here, but I think maybe has the McLaren let the Williams go because he's got that penalty and he wants to tow for the DRS maybe? I'm not entirely sure. Let's just keep on board with these two the closest cars on the field.
Yeah, of course. Apologies for that background noise a second ago. Obviously, with GG again, with his penalty currently in 10th. I mean, it is quite risky to run a race like that with such a penalty, especially at this kind of pinnacle of the league. Some might see it as quite unprofessional, and I mean, I see his sort of. I mean, it's quite clear that he may have lost his head during that race. Obviously, because of many reasons that may have caused him the penalty. It's happened to all of us, and obviously with the adrenaline, it's very difficult to maintain and control. But obviously, it is quite a there is quite a margin between the tyres of the Williams and the McLaren of Detective and Karem, with obviously the Williams driver having 7-lap-old mediums, and obviously the Pie McLaren of Karem, his hards are all the way down in 17 laps, and obviously that is going to be really, really evident. And obviously, as he collects another 3 seconds to add on to his penalty, I believe that's now 6 seconds. It is looking quite downhill for him, and that door is shutting fast. So it's either he puts the pedal to the metal and gets a move on, or he's not going to be too happy with the end of this race.
No, Karem 13-second penalties now, and he's all the way down to 9th, and it's going to be even worse than that by the time he finishes the race, because he could drop all the way down to no, actually no, they couldn't, because the cars behind him have got penalties also, but he could drop down to 11th, I think, because of CJ, perhaps. I believe CJ's within that 13-second remit of him. So all to play for. Epic at the moment does not look like he's going to get on that podium, unfortunately, because that 10 seconds.
Oh wow!
Just 7 seconds off of Mint as Imadi rounds the final corner before that long back straight on the final lap of this race. Imadi, the Scotsman, the championship leader, with another very clean drive here today. Will he continue this streak of dominance going into Monaco next week? We'll have to wait and see. But here in Miami, he's been utterly clean, utterly brilliant. He's had the raw pace and composure. And as he rounds the final corner, the Scotsman will come home in P1 again this season. He's having a dominating season and maximum points here again in Miami for him. He's going to be followed closely here by the Mercedes of Wes, who rounds the final corners and comes home in P2. It's then going to be Epic the Animal, who unfortunately has that 10-second time penalty, so he's going to drop down to P4 by the time Mint Kestrel comes around these final corners as well and grabs his spot on the podium. He recovers from an earlier 10-second time penalty and gets on that podium position, getting good points from what could have been an awful race. Epic the Animal, like I say, in 4th. Detective Mitch now comes round. He'll finish in 5th. Kevin Cowell with a 3-second time penalty, clear of Mine Master though, and he'll round these final few corners and come home in 6th position. A good race for him, some good points finally after a rough week in China last weekend. Mine Master will come home in 7th. Nice points for him as well. Phantom Fox, unfortunate result for him, but he will finish in 8th. CJ up to 9th position now with a 3-second time penalty. Will cross the line in 9th but finish in P10 as Kizzy behind him had no penalty. GGWPFC in 11th. Karem finishing 12th with that 13-second time penalty. And O-Wise here. Oh, Karem not quite finished yet, I don't think. He's just coming into the final corner now. O-Wise has already finished because he was lapped in the race. But yeah, the final car to cross the line will be Karem. He is, I think he's given up here. He's sort of weaving towards the line. 12th position he'll take. And that is the end of that. Another enthralling race in F1. It died out towards the end, but it was absolute execution by Imadi in P1. An interesting race with all the penalties and the strategies and all sorts going on. But just a word on our race winner Imadi there, Hyper. What a race from him.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, just what a race from him. I mean, that man has really wrung the neck of that Red Bull today, and he's really shown the pace and the respect that he deserves as a driver. I mean, just absolute dominant race from him. I mean, I'm excited to see what happens next week in Monaco, of course.
Yeah, I mean, what a race. What a race from him. He's been dominant so far this season, and he will extend his lead at the top of the championship as Bora Alkan, of course, not finishing this race, so he won't close down on him. And yeah, that's the end of that. What a race it is. Let's go through the final order with Imadi taking the win here in Miami. Wes in P2 and Mint Kestrel running off the podium. We've then got Epic the Animal in 4th, Detective Midge in 5th, Kevin Cal in 6th, My Master in 7th, Phantom Fox in 8th, Kizzy in 9th, CJH in 10th. Good points for him after all the penalties that he got. GGWPFC in 11th. We've got Karem in 12th, O-Wise in 13th, Haribo Man obviously DNFing but will get 14th. Dan Lutonian in 15th and Bora Alkan rounding it off in 16th, who obviously also DNF. So another very good race in the F1 division here, and we will be back again next week for round 5 in the streets of Monaco. Thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you again this time next week.